Okay.
Isn't it supposed to say live?
Yep. We're
Yeah.
starting.
Right.
Okay. Hello, my name is Quinn, and this is Unit 3, Group 3. I'll begin with the introduction. According to a report conducted by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2015, there were reported 168,522 people employed in the United States. Of those 168,522 people, 104,630 of them were minorities. This number includes women and ethnic minorities. The media depicts and aids to these stereotypes, making them seem normal and acceptable, when in actuality they are just creating inequality or discrimination in the workforce. Did you know that women make 83% compared to men? There is a huge pay gap within the workforce that most people tend to avoid. Due to the inequality of pay and the uncertainty of job security, many women are on the fence about having a family and a career at the same time. Most believe that they have to work 5 times as hard as men in order to compete in the workforce, which does not usually leave a lot of room for starting a family. On the other hand, many male employees would rather prefer for their women counterparts in the workforce to play into the housewife role, which comes to the question, do you believe that there is inequality in the workplace? Minorities in the workforce is something that is very common in most businesses. Inequality can come in many shapes and sizes, as well as can come from anyone. Another term for inequality is discrimination. The terms discrimination and minority are two terms that are most often heard or seen together. Being a minority in the workforce, whether that person is an ethnic minority or a woman, can be a very traumatic experience for some. There has been numerous amounts of cases where someone was being bullied or harassed at work for being a minority, and their management not taking the proper actions towards fixing the issue. A lot of this happens because employees try to fill a diversity gap. No one wants to feel like the token employee or player on a team. The token employee or player is usually the person who has been picked or hired based off of their skin color or the gender sex. Even though many minority employees may not be token players, other non-minority workers assume that they are causing negative balance in the workforce. Many non-minority employees believe that minority employees are underserving of their title. According to an article that was written by April Fisher in the Fortune magazine, she quoted David Mayer, one of the authors of Academy of Management Journal, saying they're seen as having an unfair, unearned advantage in the competition for scarce resources like raises and promotions. The negative reactions from coworkers can have a huge impact on how one will perform in their day-to-day tasks as well as their home life. Because of this issue, many minority employees quit before they can move up in the ranks. Other office employees are not only the negative predecessors in the workforce. There are times where the employer themselves demonstrate discrimination. Ever hear of the glass ceiling? The term glass ceiling often refers to female employees who are not able to advance beyond certain title and pay levels. But the term also applies to others who are members of ethnic minorities. They may find that they don't receive the same pay as their counterparts, or they are passed over for a promotion in favor of other candidates despite equal qualifications. A 2007 study conducted by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, a government agency responsible for enforcing anti-discrimination laws, found that only 20% of minorities that are mid-level managers, despite the fact that they account for 34% of the total workforce. Moreover, only 24% are white-collar professionals and 17% are executives or senior-level officials. At the highest levels of corporate governance, these numbers are even smaller. Terms such as glass ceiling show the depth of discrimination for minority people in the workforce. Many are saying that most companies are more racially diverse than many years ago. However, there are still disparities within the employee communication structure. Companies nowadays are trying very hard to implement different diversity trainings and diversity programs so that more minorities will feel comfortable in the workplace. Just because companies are creating these programs does not technically mean that they are working in effect. There are other forces that play into the discrimination of people in the workplace. Right now, I'm going to introduce Megan with some important information that you should know.
Hi, my name is Megan Tomczak, and I'm going to be talking about how media has compiled negative images and stereotypes into the inequality of women within the workforce. Media has always affected the way people view themselves in the rest of the world. All different types of mass media, including TV, advertising, broadcasting, and even social media, has presented us with stories and images that influence how we develop a basic belief about the world, creating stereotypes related to age, race, and gender. Moving through the 21st century, the amount of information society gathers from mass media, including internet and TV sources, have exceeded our direct experience with the real world. Media has portrayed this idea that if you fall into a certain demographic category, then you are going to be judged a certain way by others. When it comes to the portrayal of women within media, we're not always shedding the most positive light. Most often we've seen oversexed, emotional, or unattractive roles. Advertising alone is a limiting one-dimensional image, portraying women in a narrow set of roles. Women have faced an ongoing challenge of changing the old concepts of media because they are still trying to fight the negative images that we still see in our existing media. So when it comes to stereotypes, most stereotypes are unconscious. They have been planted into our brains through our experience, personal and through the media, and have been reinforced time after time through media. And before we know it, we are having these ideas or judgments about people based on, how they look or their gender specifically before we even know them. According to Egley's gender role theory, which was published in 1987, he proposes that people develop expectations of their own and others' behavior based on the beliefs about the behavior that is appropriate for men and women. A lot of these behaviors and beliefs have been seen through images within the media that have been imprinted in almost all of our brains because sex in media is everywhere. When it comes to stereotypes in the workforce, a study was published by Jessica Kendrick and Teresa Vesco as to why women were underrepresented in leadership in scientific, mathematical, technology, and engineering occupations, and why men were overrepresented in those occupations. Specifically, they came up with a few different reasons. They found that men possess skills that are most necessary for leadership positions while women do not. Men are more interested in holding leadership positions. Leadership is led to believe that leadership positions fit men's personality rather than women's. Women are unfairly denied leadership positions. Women are given fewer opportunity to pursue those positions because men have a favoritism within the workforce. And finally, men are encouraged by society to get those positions because women are believed to, be at home. The study also talked about how a lot of these differences was due to the gender differences between skills, personalities, interests, and gender discrimination. Onward, they talk about how women today are widely viewed as incompetent within the workplace, which has greatly impacted the quest for gender inequality in relation to their male coworkers, which ultimately makes it difficult for women to advance in traditionally male-dominated fields. When it comes to the application process, a lot of it is gender represented. So most females will get the female gender job. Most males will get the male gender job, and vice versa, reinforcing gender-based occupational segregation that we so often see and hear about. From what is portrayed in media, society believes that a man should hold a more assertive and masculine job title because women are shown to highly lack authority in those areas, especially in the workplace. We're judged as having less ability and effectiveness as a leader. And when we do have those roles, a lot of people look past that, or a lot of people do not look past that and do not take us seriously. We have a negative view within the workforce. According to the National Center of Educational Statistics, about 57% of college degrees are earned by women. There's 48% of us within the workforce. Yet only 24% of women make up the scientific, technology, and engineering mathematical occupations, and only 26% of women are CEOs. However, what we can do is that media is very powerful and influential to the way we see ourselves. We can either encourage or discourage occupational careers by using media. Social media is going to dismantle some of the demeaning stereotypes that we have about gender. Today, social media has created a whole new outlook on media as a whole, and women are driving the social media revolution. But it is having a very high impact on old media. So if social media is taking over old media, and women are running social media, where is that going to take us? Because that's where we're at right now, and that's the question that's being proposed a lot. So the entertainment industry has the opportunity to produce images that can positively show women in occupational careers, which will be inspiring images that can be diverse and empowering to women as a whole within the workplace. I'm going to pass it on to Ellen now.
Hi, I'm Ellen. I will be talking about the pay gap between men and women. Women still have a long way to go until they get paid the same amount for the same job as men. Some estimates it will take about 50 years to end the pay gap, while at the G20 summit in 2014 it was estimated closer to 75 years. What is stopping women from realizing their full economic potential? In Michigan, women who hold a full-time job is paid on average $37,419 per year, while men are paid $50,057 per year, according to the National Partnership for Women and Families. This means women are paid 75 cents for every dollar paid to men, a yearly wage gap of $12,738. Women who are employed full-time lose nearly $16 billion every year to the wage gap. Families, businesses, and economics suffer as a result, causing families to have less money to spend on goods and services that help drive economic growth. If the wage gap was eliminated, 96 more weeks of food for their families, nearly 2 years' worth, there'd be 10 more months of mortgage and utilities payments, more than 16 more months of rent, 5,684 additional gallons of gasoline. Almost 40% of families have mothers as the primary or sole breadwinners. Married mothers make up more than half of those families as primary or co-breadwinners. 488,000 families' households in Michigan are headed by women, which 32% of those families, which is approximately 157,587, have incomes that fall below the poverty line. Wage gaps persist regardless of industry, occupations, and education levels. Women with master's degrees working full-time year-round are paid 75 cents for every dollar paid to men with master's degrees. And then women with doctoral degrees are paid less than men with master's degrees, and women with master's degrees are paid less than men with bachelor's degrees. The pay gap originated based on the difference between education and experience. Both education and experience are what shape the economy, which economists call the human capital. This is the skills and qualifications learned either through education or on the job that make workers productive employees. Women are typically left the labor force after marrying or having children. The Pew Research Center conducted a survey asking women why the pay gap still persists. Women were more likely to say they had taken career interruptions to care for their families. Researchers have shown that these types of interruptions can have impact on long-term earning. 4 in 10 mothers say they have taken a significant amount of time off from work, reduced their work hours to care for children or other family members. There's a quarter say they have quit work altogether to care for their family's responsibilities, which fewer men say the same. It is approximately about 24% of those fathers say they have taken a significant amount of time off to care for their children or family. And to talk more about mothers and work, we'll pass on to Zaylin about pregnancy.
In today's society, female inequality still exists in the United States and especially in the workplace. According to International Labor Organization, equality in pay has improved since 1979, when women earned approximately 62% as much as men. And in 2010, American women on average earning rate increased to 80% of their male counterparts earned. Although female earning rate has improved compared to 50 years ago, but there is still a huge gap in female inequality in the workplace. According to Diane, author at New York Times Magazine, young women are less likely to get hired because they could get pregnant. Some companies will hire women who have young children in the hopes that they won't have to deal with employees taking extended leave or potentially leave the job entirely. According to Robert, a professor at New York University, part of the reason caused female inequality in the workplace has to do with biology. Because only women can give birth, women often need to take time off for maternity leave. Sometimes their careers are put on hold, while men are free to pursue promotions and earn raises. Therefore, they are less likely to grow in the company because they miss out on things going on in the business, so they have to relearn. Pregnancy plays a huge role in terms of female inequality in the workplace. Unlike other countries, such as Switzerland, have guaranteed paid maternity leave. The United States is only one of the 3 countries without paid maternity leave. And many companies in the United States are not picking up the bill either. Half of all first-time mothers receive no pay at all. In order for companies to create equality in the workplace, that all employees deserve the same benefits, companies should establish programs that support women who return for maternity or childcare leave, and also to raise awareness of the options of paternal leave. However, women equality will not exist until they receive equal opportunity and treatment in the workplace. Now I'm going to pass to Jennifer.
Alright, so gender discrimination in the household about whether who should work or not is a big thing in families today. The men don't want women to work, and the women really want to work. And back in the day, many people believed that if you were a woman, you should just be the homemaker, and the men should just be the breadwinner. And it's quite shocking that people still to this day have that mentality, and it is that exact mindset that allows discrimination in the workplace to even be considered by employers and coworkers. And according to Neera Tardon, who is the president Center for American Congress, many ground-breaking laws like the Equal Pay Act help bring in a new era of opportunity for women in the workplace. And more women are working now than ever before. And for those who don't know what the Equal Pay Act is, it was established in 1963, and it was just a federal law that stopped wage disparity based on sex. And Tardon also went on to explain how even in two-parent households, women are still the primary caregivers in the family and are usually responsible for providing and securing care for their loved ones. But yet women are still working in environments without the protection to balance work and family responsibilities. So between 1970 and 2000, the percentage of women who work rose from 43.3% to 59.9%. which is a very big jump considering many women were afraid to work because taking care of a family along with cooking and cleaning was all they really knew how to do. And although I believe gender discrimination in the workplace is very wrong, I came across a journal by Prashant Bardwaj, Gordon Dahl, and Keith Shea, which were graduate students. They brought up some valid points. The men argued that part of the gap is due to the different characteristics of women and men. And these things include occupation, level of education, and assertiveness, just to name a few. And these differences aren't really necessarily discriminatory, it's just a matter of what path the person has decided to take into the workforce and that's how they're being treated. So personally, when a man in the household tells a woman she can't or shouldn't work, it's because they want to control and just feel like the man. Because even from long ago, it's always been a man's job to do the hard labor. And if you ask any man today, most of them will tell you this is true. And I think it may be the pride that allows them to discriminate against opposite sex in the workplace as well as in the household. So a scholarly journal written by 3 higher-level education graduate students suggests that many women employees experience challenges in attempting to juggle paid work and family responsibilities, and that these challenges are often highest among women with heavy household and child care responsibilities. And this is true. I believe it is difficult to have a full-time job and try taking care of a family or try to be the homemaker and the breadwinner all at the same time. So between all of these sources, I found out the common factor was the discrimination was based on work life and family life that couldn't all be balanced, and it's just a matter of the person, and really no one should have to be discriminated against due to the decisions they make. So after hearing all about the inequalities in minorities, the stereotypes in the media and the workforce, the pay gap, the pregnancy in the workforce, and the gender discrimination in the household regarding work, we all hope that the gender discrimination will finally come to an end and everyone in the workforce can just be seen as equal and not for a man and a woman.
Thank you.
Thank you.